Hey there. It's Toronto Sports Rush. I'm Dan. Kyle, and we've got Keegan. He's in Seattle. He's boots on the ground. He's there as the Blue Jays. I have good news. They landed safely. Everything is fine. They arrived at their destination. Keegan, give us more good news on the Jays as they approach game number 3.
It's about the best news of the ALCS so far. A smooth travel day. But, man, this is going to be a pretty happening spot. I tell you, Seattle gets wild for postseason games, guys. I remember the 2022 ALDS against Houston. I was here covering game 3 for us just as an extra reporter. And I remember it because it went 18 innings. And I just wanted to go home. I was ready for my year to be over. But this is an incredible spot for baseball when they're going well, man. This is going to be a tough spot. I don't know if I have much good news to drag out of this, but Shane Bieber, and you are in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan, do you have any sense of how many Canadians will make their trek south for this game? Because I know in the regular season, there's 5,000-6,000 there, but there's just not that many tickets available for this type of a game. Or will they continue to make it and overpay for the scalp tickets or StubHub and whatnot?
I'm curious. I don't think we'll see as many because Seattle during the regular season, let's say it's a Tuesday in May, maybe you don't get the biggest crowds here. But the postseason is very rare here. And in the postseason, they go nuts. So when you're making the trip down from Vancouver or even Calgary, Edmonton, wherever you are, probably a little easier when the prices are low. You've already got to get yourself here. There were a few Blue Jays fans on my flights, which was really a dedication. But I don't think we'll see as many. I think the prices are going to be pretty high for this stuff. And the Mariners crowds will be pretty loud. When the Blue Jays come down during the season, it feels like a lot of people here are caught off guard by it. It's a random Tuesday, and suddenly there's 10,000 drunk Canadians. Today, I think there will be much more of a conscious and concerted effort to just drown the Blue Jays fans out. It's going to be pretty cool.
Is this the game where, because nothing's working through 2 games, Vladdy no hits, Varsho no hits, who else do we have with no hits? There was one I'm missing.
Barger, maybe?
Yeah, Barger. Barger, no hits.
Yeah.
Is this where we just throw the lineup into a Yahtzee container and see what comes out? Or because it's a must-win game, essentially.
Yeah. You've got to. Going down 3-0, teams don't come back from that. It's once or twice, but it doesn't happen. I think you still stick with how you got here. And you stick with the lineups that worked against the Yankees. It's just got to work differently. Like Seattle's pitching is really good, and they're handling the Blue Jays really well in this series. They're pitching them a bit differently. But the names that you mentioned, Dan, especially Vladdy and Barger, they just need something from them. And I feel harsh because for 5 days in the ALDS against the Yankees, I was talking about, man, Vladdy, like coming out party, superstar, this is what we've been waiting for. Now 2 games later, I'm crapping all over the guy. But when you sign a $500 million deal, there's no time for patience in the playoffs. Like, you need to be the guy every single day. And he has not been the last 2 days. Barger, I go to, guys, he's not the second best player on the team. Not close. But he is a player fully capable of changing a game in one instant. Like one of those big daddy hack swings, a big throw from the corner outfielder from third base. They just need to shut this crowd up. Really, I think pretty early. And Barger's capable of doing that. They just need something from him because he's been some empty value this postseason.
A team that's so known for making contact with balls, fouling off pitches, getting pitchers out of the lineup. It seems that they are now back into that same version of themselves that faltered down the stretch before closing strong. Are you sensing that there are guys like the ones we just mentioned? They're just pushing too hard right now. They're trying to replicate the first series success, and they're feeling the pressure of being down 2-0?
I do, and that's what's happening most of the time when a team is struggling. No matter how much we want to talk about bat speed and bat path and all of these new things that we can look up to pretend to sound smart, 9 times out of 10, when a hitter is struggling, they're just trying to do too much. And that's the constant struggle of baseball. It's not hockey where you can try harder and fight in the corners and hit a guy a little hard. It doesn't matter if you try harder in baseball. You'll probably end up looking foolish if you try harder because you're going to be swinging early. You're going to be chasing a fastball that's never going to come. Vladdy's the ultimate example of this, guys. And John Schneider says it all through the season. When Vladdy is trying to do too much, that's when you see him. Everyone can picture this. the big outside slider when Vladdy whiffs at it and he's nowhere close. And Vladdy, when he's trying to do too much, you don't see those natural, easy swings from him like we did on those home runs, the grand slam against the Yankees. That's a lot of this. And the Blue Jays talk so much about their ability to flush bad losses and move on. And it's time for them to prove if that's real or just a narrative. Because I'm sitting in press conferences every day now where that question's getting asked 20 times. You guys are so good at moving on, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, are they or aren't they? I don't really know. When is it really an identity, or when is it just a story that they or we in media just keep telling? They've got to really prove it right now, because this place is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. They're going to be on top of the Jays.
When we were talking about Bobby Valentine after game 2, I was trying to explain to him. I said I couldn't, because I've been watching the Fox feed, and I couldn't wrap my head around that. They were all raving about the Blue Jays bullpen and Vladdy, and now we're seeing what's happening in this series. And I was trying to say to Bobby, see, this is what we're used to. We're used to mediocrity. So that's why Vladdy doing what he did against the Yankees was jaw-dropping to Jays fans when everyone else saw it from afar and said, oh, man, he's been doing this all year. So I kind of feel like my brain is going crazy after what we saw in the Yankees, because that wasn't normal.
Exactly. And it's been, Dan, I'll even link this, Dan, because it's been on my mind, to the anniversary of Bautista's bat flip yesterday. And in Toronto for 10 years, we've been rolling out and celebrating and re-celebrating that team that lost in the semifinals, essentially. And that team is worth remembering. An incredible team. They were so meaningful to baseball in Toronto and in Canada. But that kind of frames where Toronto is as a baseball market. They have rolled out Martin, Pilar, Encarnacion, and Donaldson to throw out the first pitches at home. Because 10 years ago, when the Blue Jays made the ALCS and lost, that's what this market is clinging to, is that last big, great memory. It's time for a new one.
And Joe Carter cost too much to get him there to throw at the first pitch.
Probably. That's my guy. He needs the paycheck.
Yeah.
But and saving him for the World Series. But when I look at how fans approach this team, there's always some Maple Leafs brain in there, which is just never healthy. But Blue Jays fans are used to these long stretches of essentially mediocrity. I know they made the playoffs in 20, 22, and 23. If you do not win a playoff game, I do not care that you made the playoffs. This is not a participation sport. You've got to do something. So people are expecting that. And there's this element of when they see the Blue Jays doing this the last 2 days, oh, of course, here we go again. Whereas a Yankees or a Dodgers fan base would be saying, screw it. 2 games is nothing. So you're seeing that Toronto mentality creep in a little bit, again, more than it should be, honestly, but it's what fans are used to.
Keegan, tonight the ball is in the hands of Shane Bieber, and I feel like we're having conversational deja vu when I bring this point up. Dan and I have talked about it. The 3 of us have talked about it. Everyone's talked about it. He seems to have that one horrific inning in every single start he makes. Are there signs of that discontinuing tonight? Because quite frankly, more so than the ALDS, this moment tonight, stopping this slide is why he was brought to this baseball team late in the season.
It's the only reason he's here, to win a game in the postseason. And if he wins a game, in the postseason, then it's immediately a fantastic trade. Like, you don't care if Cal Steven goes on to win the Cy next year. If you win a playoff game, that's perfect. And with Bieber, the big inning, and like a lot of Blue Jays pitchers, the home run ball has killed him. Bieber, before the surgery, is a pitcher who needed to be just about perfect with his locations, how he approached everything, the movement on his pitches. Most of the time, he was. A pitcher like Bieber being good impresses me way more than a pitcher like Trey Yesavage being good. Yesavage can miss his spot and strike a guy out. If Bieber misses his spot at 91, he's getting launched on. So a precision pitcher like Bieber, you've got to be locked in. You've got to be right on. Coming back from Tommy John, that's not going to happen 100% of the time. And when it's only happening 95% of the time, that other 5% is the big inning. We've seen that too much. And if you have a bad inning and allow them to have a big inning in the postseason, your season might end early. So this is as big as it gets for Bieber. He's someone with a lot of cash on the line too, guys. He's definitely going to opt out and become a free agent. Is he going to leave teams with the memory of him getting hit hard in 2 postseason games against the Yankees and Mariners? Or is he going to leave teams with the taste in their mouth of a guy who just went 7 shutout innings on a big stage and shut up a wild crowd?
Ooh, that's a bigger money's a bigger incentive.
It's a great motivator. As much as players love representing a country, blah, 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 money matters, okay? And he's got a lot of money on the line today, guys.
Okay, so we've got the Blue Jays landing safely. We've got that good news. We've got Bieber playing for a contract next year. And I have another piece of good news, and that happened after game 2. Everyone, including a lot of people that text me, maybe even myself, can no longer point the finger at Anthony Santander. So once he was taken out of the lineup and that happened, everyone was like, I guess he's not the problem.
Man, that was 2 hours prior to first pitch, guys, and he had just spoken on the podium. Like he had just been on the podium talking to media, and an hour later he's scratched. So it was a weird day. Honestly, guys, I keep thinking that Santander is going to have a big moment. Like I keep thinking he's going to launch a ball 450 feet. But this back tightness thing, it's something he dealt with in early September when he was ramping up from his shoulder injury. So there's a concoction of physical issues this year. Santander needs 2026, man. Like I know no one has ever needed a fresh season like Anthony Santander. But if he's not in the lineup, you're leaning on Davis Schneider against righty. Like the Blue Jays go back to being kind of one bat short, which we talked a lot about before the season, and they filled that gap pretty well. But they go back to being a bat short. And if Santander is limited off the bench, or if he can play, I mean, loosen that back up, man. I don't care what kind of Tiger Bomb, or I'm sure they have some even better stuff in those magical cases in the Blue Jays clubhouse. But, man, they need them.
Keegan, we brought this up with Bobby Valentine the other night. Let's fast rewind to the start of this series. The entire city of Toronto was just on fire with their support of this team. The entire country of Canada was following in line. All media was focused on Blue Jays content. And the commercials all got quickly flipped overnight. Is it possible that them getting out on the road will relieve a little bit of that torso pressure of having the entire nation cheering for them in their home building and stuff? Maybe getting on the road where it's a little bit quieter and a little calmer from a media perspective would do them some good?
Definitely a little calmer from the media perspective. There are fewer of us, which I like. That's all I'll say about it. I like when there's less of us around even.
Who wants a lot of people? No one.
No, especially that type of folks. But, I like a few of us. It's okay. But prior to a postseason game, guys, I think it's a complete change for these players. And I'm not trying to drum up the, Mitch Marner or the Toronto media's scary stuff, because they're not. Give me a damn break. They're not. It's not New York. It's not Philly. Everyone grow up. But after a game, for example, during the regular season, let's compare the two. During a regular season game, it's a Tuesday in June, just beat the Orioles. There might be 1 or 2 reporters in the clubhouse after the game. Down in the interview room, there might be 2 or 3 of us asking quick little questions just to fill our own individual stories. Now, after a game, there's 30 of us in the clubhouse. And at the podium, there's 50 people. Some of them are actually working on a real story. Half of them are there to hear their own voice and ask something kind of dumb. So there's lots of fluff. There's lots of wasted time. There's lots of, will you please talk to me and my camera person, from people these players have never seen in their lives, okay? They haven't been around all season. They drop in, and now they want their time, usually just to ask how it feels to play for a country over and over again. But I don't think that adds pressure. It's just more a cluttering of their day. And when you're on a losing streak, road trips can be a good thing. And 2 games counts as a losing streak in the postseason at this time of year. So I think it can only help. I don't think it's a big, bad Toronto media thing, because Toronto media is not scary. I'll never accept that narrative from anyone, because I know these people. If you're scared of them, get your head checked. But I do think that it can just kind of freshen you up, get you away from the cluttered nature of it. So the only thing you're focusing on, again, is baseball.
Keegs, let's end with this. No matter what happens in game 3, the story of game 4, I'm sure maybe you've even written a little bit of it. Max Scherzer, probably, potentially his last ever start in the major leagues.
Could be. I'm glad he's getting another writer, Mitch Bannon from The Athletic, and I were talking the other day because Max Scherzer had pitched in one of those simulated games last week prior to the Yankees series, and there were I think 3 reporters there, and the stadium was empty, and he was facing a couple minor league guys, and we were talking like this cannot be Max Scherzer's final game in the majors, facing some single A hitters in an empty stadium for 3 idiots watching him. So, given his career, I'm really excited to see this start from Max Scherzer. September was bad. Yeah, his last 6 starts of the year, I think 5 innings with a 9 ERA. That's bad. The home runs have been bad. The Blue Jays' optimism comes from the idea that Max Scherzer now feels better physically. And it's a fine line for him, but if he's feeling better enough physically for this start and can finish his pitches, can be throwing 94 instead of 93, no one in the world has more experience. No one in the world is more intense. My God, being around him is an experience. And I love postseason pitching stories like this, like that veteran trying to win one last game, the starting pitcher coming back around on short rest. You've got these hero moments. And Max Scherzer's either going to have to tie the series or keep this entire season alive. And much like Bieber, guys, we talked about, if he can do that, I don't care about the rest of his contract. It's immediately a worthwhile contract and probably pays for itself if you extend the series by a game and send this back to Toronto. So major moment for Max Scherzer. Whether he pitches next year or not, I don't know. So you can say that this could be the end for him and one of the best careers we've seen in this generation of pitching. And man, if anyone in the world is going to hype themselves up, punching themselves in the face in the mirror to get adrenaline to throw 95 one last time, it's Max Scherzer, man. He's incredible to cover.
Amazing. Well, we look forward to that, but first we got to get through game 3. Have fun.
I'll try to, fellas. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon.
That's Keegan from Seattle, site of game 3 as the Blue Jays trail 2-0. So talking about Scherzer potentially last start in the majors, like he said, that's the stuff like that the game's all about. Maybe he summons like the power of the movie The Natural, but not because Robert Redford was a hitter, but maybe he does like the pitcher version of The Natural.
This is our constant conversation about the theater of sports waiting to play itself out right now because, a win tonight completely shifts the momentum of the series, but a loss tonight kind of takes a lot of the pressure off him to a degree because it's like, well, if you just lose the 4th game, you're just one of 4 guys that lost for us. But I feel like I wanted to be down on the idea of him starting another game, but for all the reasons, for all the theater that can surround sports in these moments, I'd almost rather risk it and be part of a resurgent, brilliant 5-6 inning start from him in which he shuts down their bats and sends us home tied 2-2, sends them even 3-1 if need be. Just go out on that note and not the way Keegan just described in the tunnels of another stadium. It would be a special moment in Blue Jays history and a special moment for Major League Baseball.
I see on a rundown there, Bo Bichette, well, he's still not playing. We can skip past that. And the Leafs won?
The Leafs won yesterday, beating Nashville 7-4. Austin Matthews had a couple of goals, one of them again an empty netter. The big guns all kind of put points on the board yesterday. Goaltender Caden Premu, he looked shaky at times, but he later admitted to having some nerves. For now, he's the backup. Solars will be back in net tomorrow night. But, they got to win. They slid after 2 losses to Detroit in a row that were not really expected. Still too early to decide what this team is. They look great at times. They look troublesome at others.
Well, I'm glad you've been watching, and my full attention has been on the Blue Jays, although I did have a friend, Kenny, who was in town because he's a Wings fan. So he went to the Wings and Leafs, and he's used to watching games in LA, and he was very in awe of the different generations. Like he was talking about the Keon jerseys that he'd see with the Matthews jerseys and like original Keon jerseys and the grandfathers with their grandsons and the knowledgeable fans around them. Stuff we take for granted. So I also added in, but it was dead quiet, right? He's like, yeah, because people are enjoying the game. I'm like,
Yeah, that's not why, fella.
Wait,
Collective
which is
depression knows
true.
no age limit.
Which is true, because if you go
Yeah.
to a game in Edmonton, I remember at the old the Skyreach Center, whatever the final name of it was, Rexall. The game was almost in silence, and you would watch from the press box, which was literally in the rafters. And it was like people watching a tennis match. People weren't making noise because they were concentrating on the game. So that's why
Yeah.
hockey fans in Canada sometimes get a bad rap for being quiet, is because, sorry, I'm watching. I don't have time to make noise.
You know what I meant to look into? They had moved the start of that game up to 2 p.m. on Monday so that it wouldn't conflict with the Jays just down the road and cause complete and total chaos afterwards. But they also had extended an invitation, I believe, to seat holders that day to stay in the arena to watch the game on the big screens in the arena. And I meant to look into how many people actually did stay for that. They would have been very disappointed, but it was an interesting decision nonetheless to, here's a little olive branch, guys. Enjoy. We'll keep the concessions open perhaps for a few of the innings of the game. It would be interesting to know.
There was no videos coming out of that because of what
No.
happened in the game. So
yeah, exactly.
They tried. It was the right idea. Had they been winning, maybe a different story, but people probably get the heck out of Dodge. Okay, so we're back here tonight after game 3. Bobby Valentine, Kyle, and I, as we recap, hopefully, a Blue Jays game 3 victory. We'll see you then.
See you tonight.